Jessica, welcome to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. She-Hulk is it's so much fun.
Thank you. I'm so excited after working on the show for so long to finally be in the home stretch and have people watch it.
We're here. We're so close now. The world's about to get their eyes on it. I watched the press conference yesterday, and you talked about how some specific comics were really huge influences for you and how you wrote Jen Walters and She-Hulk. I'd love to hear from you. What would you say are the core traits of Jen and She-Hulk? Because I feel like there are kind of different answers for both characters that really define them and what you wanted to bring to the show.
For me, it was John Byrne's run that A, made me fall in love with the character in the first place, but B, I consider that, like, and most people do it, this is nothing new, it's the iconic She-Hulk run, you know? And, you know, he was the one who introduced the fourth wall breaking and kind of the meta nature of this character and how she was self-aware and knew she was in comics. So for me, that's quintessential Jen. That's quintessential She-Hulk, actually, I should say. And, you know, I think early, there's been so many iterations of Jen in the comics, and she really started out a little bit more timid, you know, a little bit mousier. And, you know, as she kind of went along more in the Dan Slott and Charles Soule runs, you know, you started to like really see this like, you know, career-driven, like working woman who had a very strong sense of right and wrong, and that, you know, we've really brought a lot of those traits into Jen.
Yeah, and Tatiana does such a great job with it too.
Really does.
Such a great job. Now, last summer I was in theaters and I was watching my favorite MCU movie since Endgame, Shang-Chi, and in that movie I was like, where the hell is Abomination going right now? And then he shows up here and we get the resolution of that story. I loved to hear about the process in the writing room, the collaborative nature when you're working with the team from Shang-Chi. Are they coming to you saying, here's what we're doing? Are you going to them saying, we need you to do this? How does that work?
So Abomination, Emil Blonsky was in my original pitch, you know, and at that point, like the last time we saw him was in 2008, The Incredible Hulk. I had no idea what their relationship to this character was anymore. I don't know if they had any plans, but it was, you know, a story I wanted to tell, so I just put it in there. What's the worst that could happen? I don't get the job. Look, I have not gotten the job so many times at Marvel. Like, it was old hat to me. I had no more fear. I was like Daredevil, I was the woman with no fear now. And so, but, you know, because he was built in to be such a big part of the show in that original pitch, and in the writer's room, you know, we really like, you know, we were creating this whole story for him because everything in Marvel is connected. That was actually why he then was put in Shang-Chi, because he was in our show. That it was kind of to seed him so that people can get excited, but also remember him. And it kind of forced people to go, oh, I should go back and check in on him and remember who he is and what all of that was about.
That's amazing how that Marvel brain works.
I know.
Cool.
I know. It's Kevin. All roads lead to Kevin.
They do. You mentioned Daredevil, so of course I do have to ask about Daredevil. He's one of my favorite characters my whole life. I'd love to hear about, did you have to watch the series, which was originally on Netflix, now on Disney Plus, to say, like, this is what Charlie did with it, this is how I should write him? Or did you say, listen, this is our version, this is what we're doing?
Yes, that's exactly what we did. We were like, this is our version, you know, because it's true for any character, you know, like every character that we've used that existed in the MCU, it gets to be a little bit different on our show because you see them in, you know, very dramatic roles, you know, like these big high pressure, high stakes kind of situations. But on our show, because our show is more of a slice of life, like, they can kind of take a break from that. You know, they get to take a little bit of a comedy vacation. Of course, after our show, they get to go back to, you know, going back to save the world, saving the universe, very serious, intense story. But on our show, they get to just take a little break and like, and when the universe is not at stake, like, what's going on with you, you know? Yeah. And they get a chance to really explore like a different part of their character, because not everyone can be like at a 10 saving the world every minute of every day.
I couldn't agree more. It doesn't always need to be the Earth is going to explode if we don't hit this goal.
Yeah.
But on that note, the show is so much fun. There's still a constant feeling of a villain could be entering at any time. There could be an overarching antagonist. I love you about balancing that comedy, but making sure we know this world is always going to be closing in a bit because she's a superhero and superheroes attract enemies and villains.
Well, we really wanted to ground it in, you know, as realistically as possible, you know? So there was always constant talk of like, if this were really happening in real life, like what would happen? And of course, like, anytime you publicly are known as, you know, any sort of public figure, there are going to be enemies. There are going to be trolls. There are people who would just want to take you down for the sake of taking you down. You know, that's all real. And so in a world where there are villains, of course they're going to want to like take a shot at her.
Sure. And She-Hulk is a character who has superheroes in the family. What is a character like She-Hulk? How do you write her? What is her mindset? of like opinion as a lawyer in a world where being a superhero is illegal. What does she think of other heroes?
Well, Jen Walters herself is very much a rule follower, you know, but you know, she is also in this like very unique position where it's already weird and wild to become a Hulk, but it's even more unique and strange that it's the second time it's happened in her family. And so she's in this unique position where the family has already dealt with this once before. Mm-hmm. And so it's, you know, it's old hat to them in the way that this could possibly be old hat to any family. So it's not as shocking now because someone's already kind of broken the mold for that. And it's just one more thing that she really has to deal with in terms of like processing how she's going to accept this.
I found it fun how the term becoming a Hulk is just like something that just gets said. It's in the family.
Yeah.
You're becoming a Hulk.
I mean, it's been years for them.
That's true. That's true. One thing that was just in one of the recent trailers, and this was one of the surprises I saw when I watched the first 4, was a Sakaarian ship. Mm-hmm. And I feel like does that feel like the reverse of like what happened with Shang-Chi and Abomination, where it's like, hey, we might be setting up a story thread. This is how we want to slip this in here.
Well, for us, it was a good way to kind of make sure that everybody understood this is She-Hulk's show and it's not going to be, you know, Hulk in every episode. Mm-hmm. But also, it kind of picks up a thread that has been left dangling, you know, that no one else has picked up yet. And it really, what it does is just kind of open the door to possibilities depending on what Marvel wants to do with it.
Sure. So that's where I'm going to end this. Do you guys... when you wrote the first season here, hopefully just the first season, not the series, did you write it with anything else in mind, whether that's sending her off to join the A-Force or Fantastic Four, coming back for season 2? Do you have those seeds that you
I mean, I have ideas of what I would like to happen, but you know, I think being a TV writer, like you can never assume you're going to get another season. So you just have to focus on, you know, telling one complete story, but leaving the door open for the future.